Oh, hello there. Yes, not going to be a long one today. For your edification, Steve Edgington, a guy whose surname I always manage to mispronounce, has posted up from GB News America interview about an hour long with Steve Bannon, and it's well worth having a look at because it does give you a very interesting glimpse into some of the thinking that we're going to have behind a possible second Trump presidency and all the stuff that Nigel Farage and all those other regular visitors to the USA are going to be coming back with. Steve Bannon is a very, very interesting guy, albeit basically a bit of a crypto fascist, and by a bit I mean an awful lot. But he does have a broad sweep of history and a good understanding of what it truly means to be a populist in terms of populist politics. I mean, Nigel Farage is a very good populist too. He fully understands why it would be a big mistake for him to nail his colours to Richard Tice too much, all that sort of stuff. But what Steve Bannon is basically saying is that by presenting a very populist, realistic, quasi-anti-capitalist, anti-establishment persona to the public, that you can magically reshape a lot of politics. I don't agree with him because I think that because of this populist notion, especially in terms of the racism, etc., that is inherent in it, is problematic at best, that it's always doomed to fail because effectively at its core it never really challenges the true nature of our problems, which, being a left-winger that I am, I would locate within the economic system. It is the very notion of untrammeled capitalism that is at the heart of the problem, whereas Steve Bannon believes that untrammeled capitalism can save us. I think he's really wrong, and I think when it does come to the pitchforks and the flaming torches, he will get to realise that. But we're going to have to go through a lot of pain if people like him get their hands on the reins of power again. Very much so, because, sorry, but unless you tackle the very, very deeply ingrained levels of wealth and power there are at the tops of societies, you're going to get nowhere whatsoever. And that means dismantling the very structures of capitalism. I mean, he talks quite a bit in this about the notion of the way that capitalism has made people in the West especially a lot poorer. Well, yeah, it has, because it's capitalism. That's what it does. And you're not going to solve it by effectively setting up populist presidents like Trump who won't tackle that. He may well talk about draining the swamp, but we know all those politicians that will talk about things and not do them. And again, Steve Bannon, very much says this is the inherent problem with, for example, Cameron, Johnson et al. Was that they talked the talk but didn't actually do anything. Well, no, they won't, will they? Because they belong to that class and they're not going to throw their mates overboard. Like Liz Truss, she was more than happy to tank the British economy for her mates. Now, you can argue that perhaps that's what she should be doing, okay. But it isn't going to solve anything in the long run. Speaking as a left-winger, as I am, I think, that we can live in a society where we very much shackle the basic notions of a market economy in a very constructive way. But that is different from capitalism. The moment you start associating a free market economy very directly with capitalism, I think then you're going to have some problems with capitalism. Yeah, think about all the problems there are in this country. Locate them where you will, effectively, but most of them are about untrammeled capitalism. And what do, for example, the Conservatives say about fecal matters or cryptosporidium in the water? Oh, it's a fault of the regulator. Yes, we need to tweak capitalism. Well, no, we don't. We need to basically make sure that it's chained to the floor and can't get out. And that was the reason why living standards so grew during the 1950s, 1960s and 1970s, and they're not now. effectively, I would have to say that whilst Steve Bannon can talk the talk, and a lot of what he says sounds very, very attractive, when it comes down to it, if he's not going to tackle the basic economic system, then it will come to nothing. And at the same time, it will leave a lot of dead bodies in its wake. It's just we are gearing up for an awful lot of dead bodies, and to a certain extent, his notions about the dangers of war are very much there. Anyway, do give it a listen. It's a fascinating look into that kind of it's still neoliberal viewpoint, but the populist, quasi-fascist neoliberal viewpoint is very, very interesting. And, there's a lot that the left could learn from there, which of course it won't, because, again, the people mostly on the left can't really think outside the box. They can't see a broad sweep of history. They can't really link Wat Tyler to Peterloo to 1945 to 1989. They just can't really do it. It's a bit of a shame. Anyway, do give it a go. And, stay dry. It's damp, innit?